Hey everybody, welcome to another video. I've got a kind of a presentation to give everybody so you know what the perpetual progress process is, or at least how I'm doing it for myself. And then as I continue to add episodes onto this video, because I'll make it into a playlist, we can see how things evolve over time. So we probably call this episode 1. I'll make an episode 0 with some higher production values. It's just been busy, and I wanted to get something out there, and I didn't want to um, not produce something because I couldn't produce the thing I actually wanted to. So this is a compromise. Let's bring up the presentation. We'll hit the slideshow. So here we go. The perpetual progress process, also known as turning pro. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to turn pro. I'm a pro already at my career job. I want to be a pro as a filmmaker. So here we are. This isn't the beginning of the story. This is where I'm trying to get serious. So the last couple of months have been pretty consistent about getting a video out. Um, I've had a lot of things change, in my personal life and at work, and for the better. And now that some things are, no longer obstacles, I'm at the like my health's taken care of. Um, I got momentum in my career and my health, and I'm ready to, go hard, so to speak, when it comes to making videos. I tried to do it for a while, but I was just sick, and I couldn't maintain the level of focus and energy that was necessary to do what I want to do, and keep my career job, because I need that safety net. I'm not getting rid of that. But it's clear that, if I want to bring the, the the ideas that are in my head to life, it's a ton of work, and I'm going to have to be very disciplined and very organized if I want to accomplish my goals. So here are the source materials of the process that I'm starting to put together. There's 3 books. Two of them are by a man named Stephen Pressfield, and then the other one's by James Clear. So Atomic Habits. This is the one I read first. I read this years and years and years ago. In fact, this book has really helped me, uh, change a bunch of get habits in my life that lead towards the improvement of other areas of my life. So, I've been real strict about going to the gym, and I'm seeing results from that. And I've been real strict about kicking ass at my career job, and always showing up, putting my best foot forward there, and that's really paying off. And then we'll get into the War of Art. I think I read this one second, and this one actually has a section in the middle of it called "Turning Pro," and this kind of expands on that. But the War of Art talks about this concept called resistance, and we'll get into that in a second. And then Turning Pro lists a bunch of examples of what amateurs do, and then what a professional does. And that's what I'm trying to do is become a pro. So I want to do things pros do. So Atomic Habits, the fundamentals, like the basic concept, is small incremental changes that have a significant impact over time. It kind of explains the concepts of a habit loop, cue, craving, response, and reward. This is all stuff how like your mind works, and your desires and ambitions. And it kind of spells those out and tells you how you can hack your own brain and predilections to be able to make those things work for you. Um, Talks about the 4 laws of behavior change: make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying. um, and then it gives a bunch of examples on how to implement these principles in your life, such as habit stacking is where, like, if you already know you have a habit, try to tag another habit on top of it. Like, you get up in the morning, and you uh, get ready to brush your teeth. Well, right before or right after you brush your teeth, let that be the trigger for the new thing you want to start doing, which is like, you know do fasted cardio. So I get done brushing my teeth, and that means that I need to, go jog on the treadmill for 30 minutes before I go have breakfast. Uh, Advanced tactics, importance of environment design. This is one thing I'm real thankful for with my buddy Devin. And I'll be back in Puerto Rico in another week or two, and it's a real good environment that's conducive to being producing the types of things that I want. The book also talks about the role of social influences and the power of commitment devices, how to recover from setbacks and maintain long-term progress. Social influences is a big one. I've got an excerpt from one of the other books that talks about social influences, so we'll cover that in a little bit. Finally, Atomic Habits covers the cardinal rule of behavior change. Um, it's all about being consistent. That's basically what it boils down to, and that's what I am trying to do in my in every aspect of my life is the consistency, because that's what they talk about in War of Art. So, the big thing about War of Art is the term resistance, and I've listed out a bunch of the different forms of resistance here, and we can all identify with it, especially if you're someone like me who. Wants to be a filmmaker or an artist or a uh, any type of creative endeavor. Really, I think if you're any type of creative person, you can identify with a couple of these things. So instead of doing the thing that I have this great idea for this video, but instead of sitting down and working on it, I procrastinate. Do something else. Delay the important tasks for some reason. Whatever that rationalization is, that's part of resistance. And then all the negative voices in your head. Sometimes I'll think, oh, this isn't good enough. I should just delete this whole thing and not release a video. Gotta get rid of those voices in your head. Fear of success or failure. The fear of success, I can definitely empathize with. Imagine getting, like, if I do a good job and release a video, and then like suddenly release a film, and then it blows up. Like, how is that going to affect me, right? I've seen, there's those stats out there where if a person wins the lottery, they win hundreds of millions of dollars, and then they're bankrupt a few years later. So I can see where you know there I would be afraid of some success, because I wouldn't want things to go to my head, or lose my edge, or not be scrappy anymore. So a couple other things: distraction and time wasting activities. Video games. Basically, like, all the time that I want to play video games, but if I spend time playing video games, I can't spend time on my video projects or my writing or anything. Um, Rationalizing, making excuses. I'm too tired. Perfectionism. Yeah, perfectionism is a big one for me, because I can't release this. It's not ready yet. And then it could never be ready. There's a quote, I forget who says it, but it was something like, a true artist never finishes a project, they merely abandon them. I feel like that, because I can be such a perfectionist, and it's something that I've got to work on. And then avoiding discomfort and seeking comfort instead. So uh, drugs, substance abuse, um, not going to the gym and sitting around and eating a bag of donuts instead. Uh, Negative habits and self sabotage. That was definitely a problem with Nexius when he was a younger man. Uh, and then change is hard for some people, especially if you're comfortable or comfortably numb in the status quo. And it all boils down to discipline. Uh, That's definitely what I've discovered after pouring through all this material and trying to implement it. And oh, here we go again. External influences and societal pressures that discourage creativity and individuality. There's that herd mentality, and sometimes if you do stuff that people in the herd aren't doing, they're gonna say negative things about you because they're a herd animal and not not comfortable, going off on their own. And the other good part about the book is, he says, don't wait around for the muse, so, and he's all about, put in the work, basically. Put in the freaking work. Sit down, in front of your computer or your typewriter or whatever, if, for however long a day. And, even if you only write 5 pages and then throw them out, at least the next day, you might even write less pages, but it might be more concise. It'll improve in some way. You get the XP, you get the experience. You sit there and you do it. And that's why they're calling it like the war of art. Like it's a battle. Like, I've already worked, in my situation, I'm working a full-time job. Let's say I'm sick, so or it's just a head cold. Obviously, I'm not trying to kill myself. Let's say I got a head cold. So instead of telling myself, oh, I already worked my full-time career job. I'm not feeling too good. I just won't put in, the time today. No, no, it's a war. It's a war. That's why it's the war of art. And you don't get out of war just because you got a head cold. Uh, and then turning pro, talks about amateurs. What do amateurs do? And I am guilty of every single one of these. Waiting for inspiration, just think, oh, it's going to strike me. Making excuses. Uh, for a while there, uh, my excuses were legitimate. My health problems were 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 uh, were up there, and I couldn't push myself to do the things that I can do now. But I think I've been feeling really a lot better the last couple of months, and that's what this video is now. It's like I'm ready to just go hard at everything. Um, fear of failure, lack of discipline. Yeah, that's the thing. I've got to be more disciplined. Trying to avoid hardship, avoidant behavior, doing, like going out drinking with a bunch of friends instead of staying in that night and focusing on the project, whatever that may be. Um, and then prioritizing short-term pleasure and instant gratification over long-term goals. So uh, sitting down and preparing these slides, all last week, and instead of sitting down and preparing these slides, I scrolled on my phone and I didn't get anything done. And that was a short-term pleasure, instant gratification thing. And my long-term goals is to be a filmmaker. I ain't gonna be a filmmaker if I sit around and spend 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, scrolling through just random crap on my phone. What do professionals do? They show up consistently. So if I got a head cold and I've already worked 9 hours for my career job, I'm still going to put in the 2 hours that I planned to put in for the filmmaking stuff. And I'm taking full responsibility. No, no, it's this is all on me. Nobody else in the world can help me with what I want to try to do. I mean, I've got to put things together. I'm obviously I'll hire folk, and there'll be people holding the camera and the boom mic and all that kind of stuff. But to get it all for all starters, until we're to that point in the filmmaking process, ain't nobody else going to do the stuff that I want to do. It's on me. I have to take responsibility for it. And I have to be prepared, for failure. That's you learn a lot from failure is the greatest teacher. And then I'm cultivating discipline. Every fiber of my being is dedicated towards accomplishing this goal. I'm in a good situation. I've got my health, and I don't have a ton of responsibilities. I ain't got a wife. I ain't got no kids. I ain't got no pets. Um, and I can actually focus on this kind of stuff. I've got take all the things that I am responsible for ultimately, aren't going to conflict with that. So, um, welcoming hardship. So, this is going to be hard. I'm going to have to put in a ton of work. I'm going to be working. Let's see, if I work at my job 8 to 9 hours, and then throw 2 or 3 hours uh, video project stuff, then I'm working 13, 14, 15 hours a day. Um, and then prioritizing long-term goals. That's what I'm doing, is I'm setting up my day-to-day stuff, so there's incremental gains on those long-term goals. So this is walking the walk. So this is I made a video like this years ago, but I couldn't stick with the schedule that I set out for myself because I had the sleep disorder. But now that and the cancer and all that other stuff. But now that that's all settled, I mean, this is what a weekday is going to look like for me. I'm gonna sleep for 8 hours. And none of this is exact, and it doesn't have to actually be in order. Um, but uh, but typically, fitness is really important to me. And getting the good amount of sleep is very important, especially in weightlifting. So, 8 hours is here. I might not get a full 8 hours. It might be six, it might be seven, it might be five, depending on how wound up I am. But I'll get some sleep. Got about an hour to get ready. Stretch and get my butt over to the gym. I spend an hour at the gym and about half an hour shower, shave, get ready, and then I'm gonna have breakfast. And then I've got a big chunk of work for my career job, lunch, another big chunk, dinner, and then after that, we've got 2 hours, 2 hours to work on video project, filmmaking stuff, and then I've got 1 hour before I go to bed. Then I'm back to sleep. This is what my weekdays. This is what Thursday looked like for me. This is what Friday looked like for me. Today's Saturday, and Saturday looks a little bit different. So let's take a look at that. But for the last 2 weekdays, I have stuck with this, and I am going to continue to do so. And then Saturday. Now, Saturday is the good day. So, fitness, gym, shower, shave, eat. So, uh, uh, nutrition and fitness, big part. So, these all kind of stay the same. And then instead of having to work my career job, I get to focus on filmmaking video project stuff instead. And I have lunch, and then I get another big old hour time block. So, I get to put a good amount of time in on a Saturday. And then I don't want to burn myself out. I need what I'm doing needs to be sustainable. I need to be able to do this over a long period of time. So I've got some time to chill the fuck out on a Saturday for about 2 hours before I need to spend an hour, get ready for bed, go back to sleep. Sunday, same thing. Video projects, for the first half, and then I have lunch. But then I gotta prep for next week. And when I say prep for next week, that's doing the laundry, that's doing meal prep, that's looking at stuff for my career job and making sure I got all my ducks in a row so the week goes smooth. Um, then I've got some dinner, then we chill out, and then we go to bed, and then we go back to the weekdays. So what does all that look like? So my career job, I work at least 9 hours a day, so I'm working 45 hours. Sometimes I work 10 hours a day, sometimes I work 11, sometimes I work 12. Um, there's rare times where I work, uh, you know, uh, six, maybe seven, but it's because I ended up working a couple extra hours on a day prior in that week. But this is definitely on average how much time I spend at my career job. So I have to share that with my aspirations to be a filmmaker. But the schedule that I've laid out for myself on the weekdays, that's 10 hours towards video project, right? And then on Saturday, this is actually nine. So it should be a total of 23 hours total. So there's 40 hours in a work week, right? So following this schedule, I'm working a full-time job and working another full-time job. It just takes me 2 weeks to do it. So maybe I guess it would be effective to say that I'm basically working the equivalent of 1.5 jobs uh, every week because and then the other point 0.5 is basically me just taking care of myself, right? Eating, rest, that kind of stuff. This is my quote, one of my favorite quotes from the book. The most important thing about art is to work. Nothing else matters except sitting down every day and trying. And that's what I'm committing to now. That's what I'm letting you folks know that I'm doing. I've been saying, oh, I'll get a video out every 2 or 3 weeks, and I've done that, and I've been consistent. But now it's time to step it up. Now I'm not going to commit to a a newer release schedule just yet, but I'm going to continue to follow this schedule and work on video stuff, and then a new video will be out much sooner than the next 2 weeks as long as I stick with this. If you don't see a video in another 2 weeks, I'm fucking up. I'm not something's going on. Want to go over some excerpts real quick. There'll be links in the description. I'll talk about that on the next slide. But I love listening to audiobooks, and I got two of these that just really stuck with me, and I wanted to share with you folks to let give you a preview as to some of the contents of the book, and it might interest you to go check out the rest of it. So this first one here is I think it's broken up into like 100 different uh, pseudo chapters. And pseudo chapter 54 is how people change when you turn pro. Let's give it a listen.
54. How people change when you turn pro. Turning pro changes how we spend our time and with whom we spend it. It changes our friends. It changes our spouses and children. It changes who is drawn to us and who is repelled by us. Turning pro changes how people perceive us. Those who are still fleeing from their own fears will now try to sabotage us. They will tell us we've changed and try to undermine our efforts at further change. They will attempt to make us feel guilty for these changes. They will try to entice us to get stoned with them or fuck off with them or waste time with them, as we've done in the past, and when we refuse, they will turn against us and talk us down behind our backs. At the same time, new people will appear in our lives. They will be people who are facing their own fears and who are conquering them. These people will become our new friends. When we turn pro, we will be compelled to make painful decisions. There will be people who in the past had been colleagues and associates, even friends, whom we will no longer be able to spend time with if our intention is to grow and to evolve. We will have to choose between the life we want for our future and the life we have left behind.
Yeah, and that's what I was talking about earlier in the presentation. About those societal pressures, and that's what this little pseudo chapter talks about. Is um, if you get if you're trying to turn pro, you can't be going out on the weekends, drinking, and then on a Friday, and then recovering from a hangover on Saturday, and then you know you just gotta give up a couple of those things. And then this other one here, how your mind changes when you turn pro. Let's give that a listen.
55. How your mind changes when you turn pro. Turning pro is like kicking a drug habit or stopping drinking. It's a decision to which we must recommit every day. 12-step programs say, one day at a time. The professional says the same thing. Each day the professional understands he will wake up facing the same demons, the same resistance, the same self-sabotage, the same tendencies to shadow activities and amateurism that he has always faced. The difference is that now he will not yield to those temptations. He will have mastered them, and he will continue to master them.
There you go. Oh, so that's that's the video basically. Check out the links in the description. I just wanted to let you folks know what was going on. This is going to be the first video in a series. The next video that I make will be kind of like a status update based off of how this process is working for me. And I'll share the good, the bad, the ugly, the advancements and the setbacks. Uh, in the description, I encourage you folks to check out any of the audiobooks. Atomic Habits, definitely recommend this one if you're trying to make some changes. If you're creative and you recognized a couple of the examples of resistance, I highly recommend that you check out the War of Art, and then the step after that, if you still want some more, you go over to Turning Pro, and that's where I'm at. And then in the description, there's also Stephen Pressfield, the guy who wrote War of Art and Turning Pro, does an interview with a YouTuber I like a lot. His name's Chris Williamson. Um, has a lot of very interesting, deep subject matter on his channel, and he has a great interview with Stephen Pressfield. And some of you are like, who's Stephen Pressfield? He's the guy that wrote the book. He did Legend of Bagger Vance. Is one of his big claim to fame. So he worked in Hollywood for about 10 years as a screenwriter. So it ain't his first rodeo. And then I also recommend there'll be a link in there with an interview. It's by Chris Williamson. It's not with any of the James Clear. It's with a guy named Ryan Holiday. So none of his books are linked here, but I just started listening to it after I listened to the interview with Stephen Pressfield, and it fits so well because it talked about a lot of the um, concepts and that I'm trying to assimilate, some of the challenges that I'm facing. And they cover it so much more eloquently than I could, and gave me a lot to think about. So it was a good follow up thing to listen to after going through. I would recommend this if you've gone through everything. If you go through Atomic Habits and the War on Art and Turning Pro, and then you go to this is just the cherry on the top. It just kind of wraps all this stuff up in a nice little bow. If you don't go through everything, give it a shot if you want. But I would highly recommend it with once you have the context of these others. Um, well, that's everything. Yeah, we got through it, got it done. I'll get I'll be working at least 2 hours on the weekdays on this stuff, and I'll be working a lot more on the weekend on these things. It's only Saturday, so I've got a couple hours yet on Sunday. So the next video should be out before the next 2 weeks. That's definitely the goal. We're gonna try to ramp up the production, and just start pumping these things out, um, and get more content out there, and really get the ball rolling on some of this stuff. So I'm excited. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it inspires you. Please, ask me any questions about it. Again, I'll be posting more info on this as it comes along, and be sure to check you out in the comments. Thanks for everything, y'all.